everyone, and welcome back to Cowabunga Corner. On this episode, we're talking about my favorite Ninja Turtle toys that have ever come out. These are the movie toys from the second Turtle film. They made a total of 7 of these toys. They made Super Shredder, Tokka, Rahzar, and the 4 Turtles. Why didn't we get the other characters? Where's Professor Jordan Perry? Where's Keno? Really, where's Keno? Where's the Paige Turco version of April O'Neil? We could have used some of those other characters. I would have loved a toy of Chief Stearns. Wouldn't you? But today's episode is a review of these toys. And I'm going to talk about what I like about these toys. What makes them different than the other toys that came out. And just how much these toys mean to me. First, we have the 4 Turtles right here. My Super Shredder is put away. I have a couple different of him. I have both versions, but they're buried in storage, so they are not on display. But we do have Tokka and Rahzar, and we have the 4 Turtles right here. And the 4 Turtles really are what I like most about this set of toys. One thing is, these toys have a rubbery body. So you can make them a bit more movable and posable than you could with any of the other Turtle toys in previous past. Their weapons were brown instead of bright colors, kind of like the original Turtle toys. And I like that. I liked having brown combat cold cuts that came with Michelangelo. And if you wanted to, you could get all weird with these toys and like pop off pieces of them. Like, here's Headless Mikey. Should I put it in a display case? But these are the Turtle toys that I goofed off with a lot. I was excited when they came out. The detail and the skin alone on them. Even their belts. If you look at one with the belts, they got the different like stitches in them and where their weapons go. They are really a thrilling set of Turtle toys that I enjoy. The details in the shells, front and back. The front shells actually do have like little cut marks on them. I like the headbands coming down onto the shoulders or blowing off in the wind. These were fun toys to have. And from what I understand, they are extremely valuable to find right now. I'm hearing they're going for hundreds on eBay. I was really shocked to hear that because I didn't ever think of them as hard to find or valuable, because when 1991 rolled around, these were in every toy store. You had the awesome boxes that had the movie pictures on the back of them. I loved everything about these toys. They came with little ooze canisters. They were the first toys to really come with little ooze canisters. I was excited, but their weapons were not much different than the other weapons. Like Leo's swords were very breakable, you know. It's still the same stuff, but you got some really cool toys that are definitely their own sculpts. The worst thing about these toys, as demonstrated by Mikey and Raph since this episode has started, is they don't like to stand. You need like a solid hard surface, and as you could tell, I got some fabric on here, and because of that, they're like rocking and rolling instead of actually standing. You gotta position their feet just right, balance their body just right to be able to make them stand. You can have the feet in the same pose, but if you don't have the body like leaning a little bit forward or a little bit backwards, they're going to go boom, flat down. With Tokka and Rahzar, they too are a little offy on their balance. Rahzar, there's 2 different versions out there. This is the red nose version. He's the more rare one out of the 2. And other than that, other than a little bit of paint difference, they're the same. Tokka here actually has basically the same mold, besides for like his head and a few things here and there. His shell's a little bit different, but it's Slash. They didn't want to mold a whole new toy. Yeah, we're sitting here going, wow, it's Slash, and he has a little foot symbol on his belt. Slash has an S on his belt, but he's got a little foot symbol on his belt, and they don't even use that foot symbol in the movies. That's from the cartoon. Tokka and Rahzar did make an appearance in the cartoon, but they weren't with the foot. So, it's a little awkward to have a foot symbol on him, but I think the toys turned out pretty well looking, even though it's the same mold as Slash. I often laugh when the same molds come out. as different toys. But I think these toys are wonderful, and I had the extreme honor of going to Varner Studios where they made these toys. And one of the things I got to see while there was the sculpt for Raph from the series. He was standing right in front of me, and I'm like, oh wow, I have Raphael standing here, and it's got no color to it. There was a little bit of a plastic piece, but most of it was the wax pieces that he was showing me. We had a lot of different types of molds there. And that interview is coming up later this season here on Cowabunga Corner. Now, I got these all four at the same time. And I do think I have 2 sets in out of package, 1 set in package from this crew of turtles. And they were my favorites from the first time I opened, as soon as I felt the weird rubbery feeling. Now, you did get that with the next mutation too, but you didn't get the detail in the skin. In this, you could see that they have all these little holes. Well, not holes, but little pokes, like indentations, making their skin have an actual texture to it. And I always found that just pure fascinating. As I mentioned before, the pieces come off. A story recently with my Don, as in just this last fall, I was sitting in my room with him on my entertainment stand, and he fell from the top of the entertainment stand. Normally, these are like the most adorable turtle toys I have that don't break, but his arm broke off. This one here. And it was the plastic piece inside. So when you take off a turtle arm, they have these little plastic nubs. And that piece actually broke from its base inside, so I had to actually glue him back together. I've been very fortunate to get it on just right to where you can't tell there was ever a break. But he is my battled, injured movie turtle. He also lost the back of his bandana, which is a common problem for the movie turtles. Their headbands, little pieces, nubs come right off. So, very, very fun toys overall. When I was playing toys with the neighborhood kids that would come over to play with the toys in the backyard. But I would have these 4 as my main set of turtles, is the realistic looking turtles. And we started using different sets for different things, like the original toys were our Toon Turtles. I know Toon Turtle toys came out later, but they were more like different wacky action turtles. They didn't seem like Toon Turtles. They didn't look like the turtles in the cartoons. They had funny stuff like long tongues or eyes popping out or spinning headbands. You didn't have these awesome toys that looked like the ones you saw in the cartoons. Now, they have new ones coming out this year that's supposed to do that with the bending shell in the middle, which just looks weird to me. Other than that, they look fantastic. Cannot wait to actually see them and see how big they are compared to the other toys. I like that these toys all matched up comparison-wise. If you took the Shredder or any of the other characters like Walkabout or Worm or Rat King and set them next to the toys, even though this was a different toy line from them, as this was the movie toy line, they still matched up to those toys in height to where you can use them when playing toys against each other. One of my fears about the new toys coming out is they look like they're going to be a bit smaller. So for those of us who collected the original toys that came out back in 1980s and 90s, we're going to be looking at tiny little Turtle Tot toys, including the 4Kids series. These are going to be smaller than those, and those were nice size. I mean, the 4Kids turtles, I think, stand just a tiny bit taller than these 4. So we're going from a good size to a little taller size. Now we're going to a smaller size. I like to see them standing next to some old turtle toys to see if I'm predicting this right. But if you go in the stores and look at like the new toys for Thundercats or any of the other new series out there, you'll find that they are making toys a lot smaller these days. I'd love it if Playmates could re-release some of the old toys like they were doing just a few years ago. We had re-releases of the early toys, but I'd like to see them re-release things like this, since these are on high demand. People want them, not for the value of them, but because of how cool they actually are. So a re-release of these toys, I think, would actually make sales with the 4 at least the 4 movie turtles. And they have the giant versions of those turtles too, which are not as cool as the smaller versions. One, they make these freckles stand out. That's probably my biggest pet peeve with the design of these toys. Turtles 2, yes, the turtles have somewhat of freckles. Not as bad as Turtles 3. If you pick up a Turtles 2 Donatello and look at him, he's got these freckles that are colored with a yellow circle around them. What? He did not have yellow circled freckles in the movie. I guarantee it. So, while these are amazing toys, there are some things that drive me insane. And the toys this small, they're not as noticeable, so it's not as much as the eyesore. But when you pick up the giant ones and look at it, those freckles are even brighter and staring right out at you. So there is issues, definitely issues that any fan could find with any toy. And for me, it's the freckles. Work with the design that you got and look at it. And if there's not freckles on a toy, don't put freckles on it. I know Mikey has freckles on the new toys, but he has freckles in the new cartoon. So that makes sense. But these freckles, Leonardo also has them on the shoulder over here, all big and circled with yellow. That's not turtley. So, but these are my favorites. I do try to keep them out on display most of the time. Tokka and Rahzar I try to keep out a lot. I have a couple different Tokkas around the room. I do have an action figure in a display case of Tokka with a piece of my collection that was first revealed at the Michigan Action Figure Expo in May 2012. It is Tokka's hand from the film. It's actual on-screen hand, and I am very honored to have it. So at some point we will do an episode showing the other movie props that I do own, including that hand. So that's where one of my Tokka toys stays permanently hugging onto its actual claw, because the claw is about the size of the Tokka toy. It's like that big. So got a lot of great things to show there, and these are some wonderful toys. If you are a collector of toys, do you have these, the original movie turtles? If you do, what is your favorite things about them, and what is your pet peeves about them? Do you like these more than a normal plastic toy, or do you think that the rubber thing just kind of threw off from the actual feel of a toy? What is your main thoughts on it? I mean, do you love these toys as much as I do? Because they're awesome. They are awesome. Give us a video reply, or actually put your comments below and let us know what your thoughts of each of these toys are, including Tokka and Rahzar. They deserve a lot of respect. Rahzar is a whole new sculpt for this toy. There is no other toy before it or after that I could think of that used this body. There are other toys of Tokka and Rahzar. There's the mutation ones, which they're okay. You got one of those miniature building things that has Tokka's head that you open up, and there's a little like castle thing inside there for you to play with the miniature toys with. So they do get more respect in the toy line as well, because they are amazing characters, only used a few times, but the fans know and respect Tokka and Rahzar. So to sum it up, I love these toys. Love them. They're fantastic. And I'm hoping that we could see more toys that's just going to have me go, ooh! Especially knowing that Varner Studios, the same studio that sculpted these, is back for the new TV series. So I can't wait to see what they're bringing us. In the meantime, we will catch you guys next week here on Cowabunga Corner, where I interview a longtime Ninja Turtle fan and friend of mine, Voice Chaser, who runs a voice chasing website that gives all these information on the different voice actors out there, from what TV series they're in, who they're voicing, things like that. It's an awesome website. They share interviews on there. It's something where if you're a voice chaser, you should know of Voice Chaser. So I am going to share my interview with her next week here on Cowabunga Corner.